Yo, 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 man, we finally back. Damn, it's been a minute. That's on me. That's on me. But what it is, YouTube? It's your boy Troy, and I know hoops, man. And we are finally back. I've been going since I want to say maybe like summer, definitely summer for sure. But we back now. That's on me. And I got a lot to catch up on, man. It's a lot to catch up on. It's a lot to talk about. But that's what I'm here for. Going to try to talk about everything as much as possible, man. And we're gonna get right into it. Man, I want to talk about this All-Star weekend, man. This All-Star weekend, bro, I'm not gonna lie. It was special. It was special for a couple reasons. Let's start off the most simple reason. It was special because not only because of this All-Star game, which a lot of people actually liked and a lot of people actually really appreciated this time around. These past couple All-Star games from these recent years have been very, very, very trash. Not really worth even talking about for overall. I've seen a lot of creators like just even like scrap the whole video, like talking about it in general, just start talking about like other things going on in the NBA, not even really talking about All-Star weekend. Sometimes we even talk about it like it's a chore. And that's not really the case of what happened. It almost started out that way. I'll give you that. It almost started out that way because some very special things happened before the All-Star game and before this other situation that I really want to get into. But let's talk about the some of the little stuff that happened during the weekend, I guess. So first thing we're going to talk about celebrity game. I'm not gonna lie, celebrity game might need to be abolished and replaced. So it was really nothing to really talk about with the celebrity All Star game. I guess the most you can really think about is Shams going for like 0 for 100 and being on his phone like during the bench and all that type of stuff. But I honestly think the celebrity All-Star game kind of like lost all its aura, man. We don't really got as many good like famous people as we did back then, so I don't really see a reason as to why we really need a celebrity All-Star game in the first place. I honestly, bro, like I think the casual fans going to pop out to the celebrity game, of course, but it's not going to be as good as what other people might say it is. I mean, I honestly don't really think there's a point for it anymore. They honestly might need to just change it up because a lot of celebrities still aren't really even popping out. So I just don't really see a point of it anymore. I don't see a point. I don't really know who's really sitting through the celebrity game and just watching it. You know what I mean? I really don't see a point of it. They need to change it. They need to chalk it. They need to replace it with like a one-on-one tournament or something. But the NBA is never going to do a one-on-one tournament. And I'm going to talk about that soon. But yeah, man, I mean, celebrity game was just a celebrity game. Nothing too crazy at all. So let's move on to something else. All right, so next we going to talk about the 3-point contest, man. Honestly, something else that just really wasn't really worth talking about. But I want to talk about two people. I want to talk about my man Con Knipple. First of all, shout out Con Knipple, man. I'm a Duke fan. I watched Duke all season last season, and I knew Con was going to be nice, but I didn't think he was going to live up to these expectations. I'm not going to lie. He has been absolutely killing it for the Hornets, man. The Hornets are, I want to say, 27 or 26 and something. They're in playing range, but it's not like bad playing range. It's like very, very respectable for the East playing range. You know what I mean? So, and they're also doing better than what they've been doing for the past couple of years. So, shout out to the Hornets, man. Con Knipple, he's a big part of that, as well as, Brandon Miller finally being healthy and doing what he's supposed to do. LaMelo Ball being healthy also and playing good amount of playmaking basketball while also creating a shot. Wait, why am I talking about the Hornets? Let's talk about Con Knipple. Con Knipple was almost lights out, but I think we all know who won this, John. Damian Lillard off of an ACL tear. An ACL tear just won the 3-point contest, bro. He got more contests won than minutes played this season. And you kind of got to respect Dame, man. I think it's kind of scary for other teams in the league that he's literally just shooting the ball and he's looking good. You know what I mean? Especially off of ACL tear. I'm glad to see Dame doing something, man. I'm glad to see Dame, healing up from his injury and whatnot, man, and getting what he needs to get off before he eventually comes back next season. Or if the Blazers make some type of playoff push, he could potentially come back for that. Who really knows? But All I know is, man, I'm glad to see Dame, man. Glad to see him actually, doing something outside of, not seeing him or, and I know it kind of sucks because he wants to be there for his team. And his team is low key making a play-in push, so I definitely think he wants to be out there for that. But other than that, man, it was really good to see Dame step up and win this 3-point contest, man. I remember, I think he said he was preying on Devin Booker's downfall. And a lot of people seen that and like kind of like said, oh, that's crazy. You know what I mean? Like, nah, it's not crazy. You kind of love to see negativity in the league. So there's that. But shout out Dame, man. Shout out Dame. Next thing we're going to talk about, slam dunk contest. Yeah, so slam dunk contest, man, lost all its aura. Wasn't really a point in really even watching for real. It's not as creative as it used to be. Obviously, I think slam dunk contest is one of the main attractions for the All-Star game and All-Star weekend and whatnot. But I mean, if we just gonna look at first of all who was even in this joint, man. Well, shout out Keyshawn Johnson, who actually won the slam dunk contest. Don't know who he is. Apparently he's on the Heat. Yeah, I mean, he outlasted Carter Bryant, rookie from the Spurs. Who else was in here? Let me check. Jace Richardson. Shout out Jace Richardson. First of all, hope he's okay. If you ain't peep or saw what happened with Jace Richardson, bro tried to do a off the glass 360 lob pass or whatever for a dunk, and he fell and dumped his noggin on the wood floor. First of all, hope he's okay. Shout out to him, man. I'm glad to see he was able to bounce back and finish a dunk or whatever. But man, that was funny. I'm not even going to sit here and act like it wasn't. That was funny. But glad he's okay and whatnot. Bro almost got a concussion. But, he eventually got up and did a 360 slammer or whatever. That's cool. It wasn't what he was supposed to do. But, got to do the safety of the players and whatnot. But, yeah, that was kind of all I really saw from, that's all the highlights I really saw from the dunk contest, man. I eventually watched it myself. It was trash. Then you had Jackson Hayes, dunking from inside the paint. You're 7 foot. And he was like believed to be a lob threat. You know what I mean? So you're a lob threat, and one of your best dunks, or the best dunk you had, was dunking from inside the paint. You know what I mean? That's not really ethical, but yeah. But yeah, Keyshawn Johnson won the slam dunk contest, man. Nothing for me to really say here. Kind of a waste of time. So there's that. All right, now we officially got to talk about what I wanted to talk about, and that's the actual All-Star game. First of all, shout out to the league for coming up with a new tournament style concept. And then they also did, USA versus World. I like that concept a lot. I think the only problem with USA versus World is, but it's also a good thing, is that it kind of makes the East versus West aspect like disappear, which I think they really need to do, only because the East versus West concept is actually kind of like trash now. And the reason that the West versus East concept is pretty trash is because not a lot of these stars are like big time box office players are in the East, and a lot of them also aren't going to the East if they're in the West. I think the most box office name you can really think about in the East at the time of me recording this is probably Giannis, Jalen Brunson, Jason Tatum, but he's hurt. Jaylen Brown, Tyrese Halliburton. I want to say is box office, but obviously he's hurt. But yeah, man. So I'm kind of glad they did the World versus USA concept. But let's get into this game. So all week on Twitter before the All-Star game, I was seeing like, oh yeah, the World just gonna rip Team USA apart. World didn't win a single game. And take whatever with that, what you want with it. Obviously, they wasn't playing serious. But I'm not going to lie to you. Jokic and Luka do not need to play another All-Star game. And I say that because they obviously don't take it serious. They just joke around. And that's what the All-Star game is. You don't really need to take it serious. But, you kind of need to entertain the fans of some sort. You kind of need to, make some type of box office highlight or something to get the fans ecstatic, to get, make people get their money's worth or whatever. And that's not what happened. Well, at least Jokic and Luka, I would say. So yeah, I mean, there was that. Let's talk about one thing. Very entertaining. 3 out of the 4 games are very entertaining, except for the last game, which I'm going to get into. But you had Ant snapping. You had Wemby putting on the show, which is crazy because Ant even said, yo, I wanted to go hard because Wemby was going hard right out the gate, which he was. Wemby was actually putting on a clinic, and Wemby was doing amazing. And I guess the rest of his teammates were like, just, all right, well, Wemby hooping, I can get a 3-point shot off, I guess. And that wasn't good hoop. So, yeah, man, I mean, Wemby came out and performed. Ant came out. But the main man I wanted to talk about, the main man who really put his stamp all over this All-Star game, Kawhi Leonard. Let me tell y'all something. Kawhi was a reserve. I'm pretty sure he was also a snub reserve at that, and people on Twitter were outraged that he didn't get called in sooner, or that some of them were getting mad that he wasn't even a starter, which I was. I honestly thought he should have started. Of course, you got your people that's going to say, oh, well, All-Star game participants, they don't track that at the middle of the season. It's always, the start from the middle or whatever and shit like that. Man, I don't want to hear that shit, man. The Clippers were 6-21. They are now 26-28, something like that. And that's off the back of Kawhi. You know what I mean? And you can also say this off the back of the Harden, too. Harden should have been in the All-Star game, but he wasn't. But we ain't here to talk about Harden because he wasn't there. So we're going to talk about Kawhi. Kawhi had 31 points in total or whatever like that. But my man had 17, 19 points back to back in one of the games, bro. Hitting threes. He hit a game winner. You know what I'm saying? And apparently some of the voting was from the coaches. I want to know what coaches didn't feel like Kawhi should have been in the game. I'm going to be truthful. I want to know which coaches really said Kawhi did not deserve to be an All-Star. Because you almost screwed the people of a master class performance. Kawhi damn near saved the All-Star weekend. I'm going to be honest with you. He damn near saved the All-Star weekend. Another thing I want to talk about, man. So if you didn't know the tournament style, so let's get into the breakdown of the tournament games, man. So first, it was USA Stars versus Team World. Obviously, it was the opener, right? So the winner of that game will go against Team USA Stripes. So they kind of separated USA. It was USA Stripes and then USA Stars. So the loser of game 1 got to play USA Stripes. And, what resulted in the championship game was basically the older guys, the older players playing back-to-back. And, they were going against the younger talent. And they got smoked the last game. I think the last game ended up being 47-21. They only do like a quarter or something like that for the All-Star game. And, yeah, man, they got smoked pretty bad. And that's kind of what you expect with LeBron, KD, Kawhi on one team. And then versus them, you had, Booker, Cade, Anthony Edwards. Like, you had all these, like, younger guys. Jalen Duren, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was all younger guys. And, they was cooking them. Quite frankly, they were watching them. It didn't help that Jalen Brunson was the point guard and, kind of had to play defense. Jalen Brunson isn't a bad defender, but it's like, when you got them big guards like that going up against them, it's kind of like, but what can you really do? But overall, man, I enjoyed the All-Star game, man. It was a lot of fun, a lot of dunks, a lot of crazy stuff was happening. Overall, I really like the concept of what they did with the tournament style. I really hope they keep that. I really wish they would bring back the what they did with Kobe, with the Kobe tribute for 2020 All-Star. I really enjoyed that weekend. But overall, pretty enjoyable weekend, man. I'm not going to lie to you. Aside from the dunk contest, 3-point contest, the Rising Star Challenge, and the celebrity game, I think it was a pretty good weekend. But the icing on the cake of this weekend, just chef's kiss, man. So guys, Kevin Durant's Twitter burner got leaked and exposed, man. There was some guy tweeting about like how trophies look or whatever, and KD with his trolling ways or whatever, he commented something like, "Oh, y'all look like how trophies are made." The guy was like, "No, not really, but let's talk about your drone investments." Let's talk about your drone investments, buddy. KD says, "Yo, so y'all really don't like the trophies?" Bro said, "Okay, they're bland or whatnot. What about them drone investments?" What about them drone investments, KD? Damn. So after that, it just sparked a chain reaction of Kevin Durant's burners getting exposed. Allegedly, a couple of KD's burners got leaked or whatever, and he was in group chats and he was talking so much shit. It was crazy. I'm gonna run down the list of things that he said about his teammates, his former teammates, a coach, other stars of the league. You know what I'm saying? It was pretty crazy. Give me 1 second. So something interesting I kind of want to make about this whole KD stuff, KD drama or whatever. I'm not gonna lie. He not lying about a couple of these, man. So let's get right into it. First of all, let's get into what he said about Jabari Smith Jr., okay? So Jabari Smith, forward for the Rockets, plays next to KD. Even called KD one of his idols, man. He looked up to KD, playing like him or whatever, stuff like that. Very, very, very nice thing to say about the veteran, one of the greatest scorers of all time, Kevin Durant, right? Kevin Durant says about Jabari Smith, can't trust Jabari to make a effing shot or get a stop. He is low-key R-word. Not racist. R-word. Meaning dumb. So, yeah, he called him that. Let's talk about Sengun. So, Sengun's kind of struggling as of late. He's getting his stats or whatever, but he's not really particularly shooting well. Coach called that play to pass the Alpi, which was a play that ended up being a turnover, by the way, from KD. KD then goes on to say, I'm going to turn the ball over with this shitty-ass team, IDGAF. Your franchise player can't shoot or defend. That's a way bigger issue than my turnovers. Remember, these guys are your future. Basically saying, yo, you worry about my turnovers. Your best player can't shoot or play defense. So he ain't lying about that. So I don't see it. Maybe he shouldn't have threw him under the bus like that. He ain't lying though. But it is what it is. So next, we're going to talk about what he said about Devin Booker and the Suns GM. Forgot his name. I think no, I'm lying. It was Devin Booker and Frank Vogel, the Suns head coach. So he said Devin Booker and Vogel are two dictators. Begins to name dictators, not going to name them, but he says the Suns are my team when we lose and Book's team when we win. I'm not going to lie, I can kind of agree with that. Every time the Suns lost or something happened with the Suns, KD was always blamed, so I definitely get that a lot. But calling them dictators and kind of calling them the most two famous dictators of all time, yeah, not a good look. Not a good look. One of the funniest ones, I swear I miss Ben Simmons. At least that dude would give me the ball. I really got to laugh to stop from crying. You know your situation bad when you say you miss Ben Simmons. You know your situation bad when you say you miss Ben Simmons, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie. Next. Now he starts talking about his tenure with the Warriors. Very funny tweet. Or a very funny message that he sent in the group chat that he was in. He says, I started holding Steph accountable in film and people looked at me like this. That dude had 11 laughing emotes on the message. He had him cracking the hell up. Okay, he had him cracking up. Let's talk about another one. Since MJ punched Kerr in the face, he don't mess with dark skins. Yo, man. Oh, my God. He mentions Ben Simmons again. Ben Simmons is going through depression. He ain't playing ball either. Why would we trade Kyrie for an N-word who hates basketball? Why would we trade Kyrie for an N-word that hates basketball? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about another one. I think he's talking about Steve Kerr with this one. I really don't like this white man. This man don't respect my game at all. Crazy work. Crazy work. I think this is probably the funniest one for me. So somebody in the chat says, Pull the numbers for all those guards. I bet it's similar all around. Don't really know the context of the conversation here, but KD kind of alludes to the context of the conversation, saying that pick proved it, though. That's the point. Now, he's going to talk about 3 point guards, okay? One of them is blatant, that who he's talking about, but I want y'all to take a whopping guess on who the next two he's talking about. Okay, let me read the message. I wouldn't say Kai was competing with me, but that light skin and that triple-double cocaine bear was. That light skin and that triple-double cocaine bear. I want you to take a wild guess who he's talking about right there. Bro, he's hilarious, bro. KD is like a comedian. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie. He goes at Kyrie again and says, hey, Kyrie thought the white European was going to play honorable hoops. I'm crying. I'm guessing he's talking about Luka with that one. I'm not too sure. He also goes on to say, nah, that dude Kai really on his best behavior around the European, but treat his own people like we owe him something. You would have thought me and James shitted in his cereal. Bro, like, do y'all not see a comedian, bro? Like, this dude is a comedian. A lot of you not, bro. He also goes on to talk about his time with the Warriors with Steph again. If you don't screen and pass up shots for Steph, you getting waived. I don't see the lie with that there. Not gonna lie to you. He goes at my man James Harden, kind of. He says, I miss James. That's a good dude. Slightly delusional, but I understand him. He ain't wrong. Oh my gosh, there's so many more, dog. There's so many more. A lot of these he really not even talking about people. He just his messages is just getting like leaked or whatever and stuff. But y'all basically get the drift, man. And a couple of like the post game videos or like a couple of like the pre-game videos that y'all seen. It would be KD and he's just looking straight at his phone. He would look up, say what's up to the camera guys or reporters or whoever, and then look down at his phone. A lot of people starting to say that he was getting cooked at that time. A lot of people starting to say that. Now, let's talk about what was right and wrong from KD. So I'm going to be honest, right? I feel as though KD was doing what a lot of NBA players have done. I'm pretty sure NBA players have like confided to like their friends or family about their team and potentially how trash their team is. Now, one thing I am confused about, I'm surprised he ain't talk about Draymond as much as he was talking about Steph and Kyrie. I'm surprised he wasn't talking about Joe Harris. I'm surprised he wasn't talking about Royce O'Neal, DeAndre Ayton, who's a couple more horrible teammates, Andre Roberson. You know what I'm saying? I'm surprised he wasn't talking about them because, truthfully, KD has had worse teammates. He's talked bad about some of his best teammates. You know what I'm saying? And it is what it is. Now, obviously, KD is in the wrong, but the people who really were in the wrong were the ones who kind of like, gave him that space to really say it. Now, a lot of people are kind of saying, why would KD being a burner in a group chat full of dudes and just ranting about his teammates? Now, well, a lot of people are saying that I kind of like did my own investigation. A lot of his friends that KD follow his burner account. So he might be cooked on that, especially considering like he was talking in first person. And like I said, a lot of his friends were following the accounts. So, hey, man, I really want to know who leaked this account. I really want to know who leaked this information, man. But, man, all this really started because KD commented on a tweet, and he got cooked from then on. So, yeah, man, All-Star Weekend was hilarious, man. All this was happening while I was at Disney World, and I just couldn't get off my phone. And, like, every time I looked up and I saw something, bro, it was something new. It was a new message. It was everything, bro. And I ain't gonna lie, that made, like, watching the highlights later on in the All-Star game very, very entertaining, man. KD ain't really do much in the All-Star game for real. And I guess that was kind of messing with him a little bit. I really cannot wait to see, like, the first press conference that the Rockets have with KD. I know they asked Sengun a question during the pregame, like, interviews, all-star interviews and whatnot. And I guess the reporter was like, yo, how do y'all get KD off his phone? And Sengun laughed and said, like, next question, or he kind of disregarded the question. But man, and then even in like during the all-star game, I guess it was like some type of like stoppage or whatever, KD was talking to Sengun, they was laughing it up. Sengun, man. If only you knew, brother. If only you knew. But yeah, man, that was All-Star Weekend, man. Hope y'all enjoyed this video, man. It was my first video in a long time, man. As y'all can see, got a new camera, got a mic, got a whole new setup. It's still in my room, obviously, but I like it a lot, man. The camera's quality is great. The mic is also good. Hopefully, y'all won't have trouble hearing me on this. It sounds pretty good from the playback I got. But yeah, man, I hope y'all enjoyed, man. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see y'all next time. This your boy Troy. I know hoops, and I'm out. Deuces.